Hello everyone and welcome to episode 4, Megaman X1. In the last part we defeated 3 more Mavericks and now we're going after the final one, Sting Chameleon. So yeah. Now actually, while this game does have a boss rush, it doesn't Mega Man 1 style for some reason, where that the bosses are split apart and in multiple places, and we're gonna be and that's gonna start this part. So, and because for some reason, when I do just a small chunk of fast forwarding, it glitches out. So or at least it has been today. So I won't be able to fast forward at least this part's boss rushes. I'll see if I can do it next part though. And there's our final heart tank. So yeah, in terms of item collection, we have everything almost, except for one last piece of armor, which we're about to get. And actually, for those of you guys who are fans of the classic Mega Man series, which I know a lot of people are who are fans of X, this guy might look like familiar. He looks like Otto from Mega Man 7 and onwards. But the thing is, it turns out that this is actually, or at least from what I've heard, this is actually Otto, but modified so that he can protect the item that we're going to be getting here. He made it so that only X can defeat him. You know, I would like to see a zero hack of this game. That'd actually be pretty badass, but it would end in the next stage. So that'd be kind of lame. I really gotta stop getting hit by that, because in case you haven't noticed, this guy has health, but he doesn't have any actual health bar. The only indication you need to have of how much damage you're doing is when he starts to smoke. Which, there he goes, he's starting to smoke, or is that steam? Smoke? Smoking! I'm smoking! Oh god, sidekicks, what a weird movie. By weird I mean totally awesome, but still. So yeah, really it's just best to use the X-Buster instead of any other weapon. Because I think the X-Buster is actually, technically speaking, the most powerful weapon in terms of individual damage per hit. Not really much to say about this boss, really. All I can say is that I always used to think its face was on its torso, with the red things on the chest being its eyes, and the white stripes being black and white stripes being its teeth. And I know you saw a bit of purple there for a second. That's because I'm playing this on an emulator, and for some reason, when my controller disconnects and weirds out, when it reactivates, I have to restart the emulator, which kind of sucks. And we get the body part, the main body of the armor, the torso, which actually increases our defense by 50%. So now we'll only take, you know, it's 150% of our defense now. We only take half the damage. Now I do wish, like, we got an ability that was introduced until later into the X games, which was the Giga Attack from this as well, but having a Nova Strike would be kind of overpowered in this game, but then again, Nova Strike is only X's 1 through 6, or 4 through 6. X is 2 and 3 have the Giga Crash. I think X7 had the Giga Crash as well, I don't remember. And now we actually get into robot fights with mechs. We put a robot inside your robot so you can fight while we fight? No, this isn't Gurren Lagann, sadly. Now, you might notice how this video is 22 minutes. When it started, it was around 40. I had to edit out a lot of shit, a lot of deaths and such. Because after this, I'm going after a certain ability that you can only get if you've 100% the game otherwise. Hello there, Sting Chemelon. Oh, that's how I used to think his name was pronounced. Now, Sting Chameleon's strategy really just walk to the left, walk to the right while firing. I do mess up once or twice though because he hits me and my controller dies on me like that, so. This is by far the boss fight that gave me the most trouble as a child because I didn't know the weakness chain at that point. And I fought these fights really out of order at that point. Actually, I just realized, I just realized the Sigma insignia is below the boss thing. That's kind of unusual. I know they do that next too, as far as I remember. That's kind of odd. And that's the end of the final Maverick stage. Booyah. And for defeating him, we get, from Sting Chameleon, we get Chameleon Sting! I wonder how they came up with that idea. Now, this is actually another one of the most useful, charged abilities, because it makes you completely invulnerable. Although, the only thing you can fire when you're like that is that weapon itself. Cutscene! Hello, Zero, I haven't seen you in 3 or 4 parts. We found Sigma's fortress, let's go and put an end to his war against the humans. Alright, but first, time for the final item. Now we have to head over to Armored Armadillo stage. Now right here in the beginning, there is this bat. Right there, that's called a bubble bat. It's a reference to the original Mega Man series. This thing has a very obscene life drop rate. I think it's intentional, but I'm not sure, but because it doesn't drop nearly as many lives in the X Collection version. So what I would recommend doing for what the thing I'm about to do next is grind up to 9 lives, and get ready for what's coming. And onwards. So with this ending section here, remember that one thing I showed off last part? I think it was last part with Armored Armadillo. Yeah, it was. Was it? I don't remember. When we fought Armored Armadillo right before, I showed that little energy pellet up top here, at the end here. Dash jump up to there, collect the pellet, and commit suicide. And repeat for about 4, 5, 6 times or so. And on the final time, there will be a capsule here. And it's Dr. Light wearing a gi. I will give you a special present. Now enter the capsule, please. I prefer the dialogue that he gives you in X2 when you get the similar ability. And for doing what we just did, which took about 4 minutes in real time, we get the almighty instant kill attack, the Hadouken. That's right, the Street Fighter Hadouken is the best attack in the game. In X2 you get the Shoryuken, which I'll get to at some point. Now that we have that, we are now 100%, so let's head onwards to the Sigma stages. Now what, I'm actually going to try and use all the Hadouken on the next bosses in the next video. Hello Zero, how are you today? Let's split up, I'll go in first and you can slip in one of the differences. So what I recommend up here, coming up to this, because after the small little platforming section here, there's going to be a section where you're above a gigantic bottomless pit. I recommend either putting up Chameleon Sting or the fully charged Chameleon Sting or the fully charged Rolling Shield for that part. So you can avoid damage and getting knocked off the small moving platforms when we get up to there, because I died twice there. Curse my controller dying. I don't need to turn off Steam notifications. And yes, with Chameleon Sting, you glow the double rainbow and you're vulnerable, but you can only shoot the Chameleon Sting, which is kind of annoying. And back to there with the fully charged Rolling Shield. With this, you're pretty much immune to any physical damage whatsoever. No, I think it wears off after a certain time, or after a certain amount of damage it could take. But you can't do anything when you're like this besides move and dash and jump. You cannot attack in any form. Also, one thing that's I find kind of odd is that in case you can't hear, when X does the Hadouken in this, a small, a weird, a voice clip plays saying Hadouken, but really quick and very high pitched. For some reason, in the Mega Man X collection, that is not present for some reason. I'm not. It's kind of like with X6 and its Japanese voice acting not being in the game, in the X collection, and it's vile. Stay back. He'll take him on. Oh boy, I wonder how this can end. It's Zero. He can do anything, right? Right? Well, that doesn't sound good. And now we must take on Vile once and for all. For my ancient weapons, then how about this? Hadouken! He's immune to it. The world is doomed! We cannot damage him. Oh god, no! But yeah, this is scripted, technically speaking. You still have to lose to Vile here in this ride armor. But yeah, that means this ride armor is technically invincible. Why he never brings it back, I don't know. But then again, we do kind of have to kill him, don't we? And Zero escapes. No, Zero, wait. What are you doing? No, Chiaotzu! Yeah, Zero self-destructs. Vile, you vile, well, vile bastard. It's a bad joke, I know. But now it's time for us to take on Vile once and for all with very low energy. No, you've somehow recovered it all. That never made any sense to me whatsoever. Prepare to be terminated. I attempted to Hadouken him, but I fail. I've never been able to Hadouken him. The Hadouken, by the way, when I was talking earlier, I'm serious. It is a one-hit kill attack. Anything it hits will die except for the final form of the final boss. And for some reason you're not given invincibility frames when attacking it. Now, Vile's weakness, as far as I can tell, is the rolling shield, because it seems to do quite the beating on him. Die! And that is the end of Vile. We're totally not going to see him again. Who am I kidding? We're going to be seeing him again in X3 and X8. It's not really story spoilers, because I don't say what happens. Oh no. Zero! You're missing your legs! And thus, Zero dies. Which for us isn't... Which we already know he's kind of back in X4. So I will say that he does come back to life, because we already know through X4. He died... Actually, Zero dies like 6 times, I think. No, wait. Twice. There's a reason Zero is still with X, but we'll get to that whenever I do X5. Which is going to be after I do X2 and 3, because I kind of want to have the first 4 X games done before I do the 5th. And now for this vertical highway, use the Chameleon Sting charge. It is so helpful. And now it's time for the first member of the boss rush. Starting off with Boomer Kawanger. I cannot fast forward to this, sadly, so... Sorry, guys. So just keep on using the same techniques you did last time, even though from now on, I'm going to be trying to Hadouken every single one of them. Except for Storm Eagle for sure, because I didn't get to show him how his weakness works with him. And Boomer Kawanger is gone for good. We will never see him again until the Mega Man X1 remake on the PSP. Which I've mentioned like 6 times throughout this project so far. I really need to get my controller. I need to get a new controller because mine keeps on dying like that. And now it's time for the first boss of the first real boss of the Sigma levels. So all 4 of them. Web Spider, what are you doing here? No, it's not Web Spider, but it does look a lot like him. So anyway, Hadouken kills everything in one hit, except for the final boss. For some odd reason. So that's been the first Sigma level. Time to go to the second, and my controller really needs to stop dying on me like that. And you're not hearing, and your hearing's not deceiving you, but the audio glitched out at this point, so I had to restart the emulator again. And now it's time for Sigma 2, which would be reused. This entire level layout, at least this first part, would be reused in Mega Man Extreme 2, I want to say. It wasn't Extreme 1. I don't remember. It's been a while since I played the Extremes. And I know I brought them up a couple times at this point, but Mega Man Extreme is a Game Boy Color. Well, Extreme 1 was Game Boy, Extreme 2 was Game Boy Color. Side stories to the original Mega Man X series. I think the order that the series goes in is X, Extreme 1. No, X, X2, Extreme 1, X3, Extreme 2, X4, and then X5, 6, 7, 8. Although I'd like to ignore X7 and 8 and go right, or X6 and 7 and go right to 8. And Chilled Penguin, who I get to show of his weakness. Flawless victory! Yeah, actually, that is kind of one thing I did forget to mention about the Hadouken. It's done the same way you do it in the Street Fighter games, which is a quarter circle motion, then the attack button. But the thing is about it, is that you have to be at full health to do it. If you're at full health -1, too bad. Now we get I think the final right armor section in the game. I was surprised I was able to make that jump. I don't think I've ever made that jump before. I don't know why. I'm just lazy. Goodbye, right armor. We'll see you again in X2, where there's a lot more of you. Wait, no, I'm thinking of X3, where there's like 4 right armors. Were there right armors in X2? I know there was the bike, but I don't think there were actually any actual right armors. But I need to play it again. And now it's time for Storm Eagle. So Storm Eagle's weakness is the chameleon sting. I tried to do the Hadouken, but it didn't work too well. Now Storm Eagle doesn't actually have any effect to being used, his weakness being used on him. He pretty much treats it like he's a Mega Man Classic boss. He just continues his pattern of getting hit by it. But yeah, other than that, not really much to say about Storm Eagle this time. We're gonna see him again after this, unless I ever do a Maverick Hunter X for the PSP, but I doubt I ever will. And that's the end of the first 3 Mavericks we are refighting. 5 to go. And we're gonna be fighting a majority of them in the next. I think we're gonna be fighting all 5 of them in the next stage, if I'm correct. Well, let's see, there's 4 Sigma levels, this is the second, so yeah, we're fighting 5 Mavericks next time, Jesus. Now we have these guys, which are the impersonators of the Sniper Joes from Mega Man Classic, but they don't do it too well. And since the next boss is also weak against Chameleon Sting, I kind of wanted to refill it before I even went in there. And time to fight Rangda Bangda. That's this guy's name. He's weak against Chameleon Sting, or Sting. Yep, Chameleon Sting. Now, all 3 parts of him can be hit: his 2 eyes and his nose. But destroy the nose last, because if you do, as you'll see when we fight the nose right now, if I'm correct, yes, the walls close in. If you destroy the nose, like I'm going to be doing, it stays that way. But really, if you just play your cards right, don't fall into the instant death spikes or teeth or whatever they are, and be careful not to lose your complete and total mind when fighting him, he's a fairly easy boss. I almost died for some reason. Although I will say, I do have the advantage of not playing this game in years, so I play X4 and X8 a lot more often than this. And Rangda Bangda is gone. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff.